Preparing for your AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate exam, but having a hard time coming up with a plan and an even more difficult time trying to find free resources? Well, this is your lucky day, because in this video, I'm going to go over 13, that's right, 13 free resources to help you prepare for your AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate exam. If you're new here, I'm Greg, creator of Thoughtful Techie Cloud, and each week I create a video to help you easily navigate your AWS cloud and tech journey. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe below. First up is the AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate Exam Guide. Every AWS certification exam guide is literally step one. This is the map that tells you an introduction of the certification, describes the target candidate description, goes over the exam content that you can expect in the format on the exam, and it talks about how the exam results are tabulated. It talks about the content outline, which is super important, and where you really want to pay attention to is the domains. Solution Architect Associate has 4 domains. It goes over the weight here. And then the rest of the exam guide goes over in depth each domain and the task statements that are on the Solution Architect Associate exam. This is one of the first things you want to download, and you want to read this from start to finish and continue to use this as a reference guide throughout your study and preparation for the Solution Architect Associate exam. Next up is Solution Architect Associate exam questions. You can study so much, but remember, on the certification exam, you're going to have to practice recalling what it is you learned. And there's no better way to do that than to go through some sample exam questions. I have a list here of about, I think it's 10 exam questions that you can go through. There are scenarios, there are multiple choice, multiple response. You can go through these. These are similar to what you would find on a certification exam. And these are going to help you out big time, determine where your weaknesses are, and start to prepare you. So when you sit in front of the real exam, it starts to feel familiar and you're used to doing this. But wait, there's more. The only thing better than 10 sample exam questions is another 20. Take a look at the Exam Prep Official Practice Question Set for AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate. Here you get another 20 questions. These questions are developed by AWS, and they are going to demonstrate the style of the certification exam. What's also great is these exam style questions include detailed feedback and recommended resources to help you prepare for your exam. Remember, when you do any sample practice questions, not only do you want to understand why the right answer is the right answer, you want to understand why the wrong answers are wrong as well, because that's going to offer even more value as you prepare for this exam. And now let me draw your attention to the Exam Prep Standard course for the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate. This is an over 4.5 hour preparation review for your Solution Architect Associate exam. Check out the different modules here: getting to know the exam, getting to know the exam style questions, learning about the exam topics, an introduction to the exam. It goes over all 4 domains in detail, talks about how to register for the exam as well. This is absolutely free and a must watch and include as you prepare for your Solution Architect Associate exam. What would any AWS Solution Architect Associate exam preparation be like without understanding AWS Technical Essentials? Here is another free course called the AWS Technical Essentials. What you're going to learn in here is AWS concepts related to compute, database, storage, networking, monitoring, and security. This is going to help you out greatly on that Solution Architect Associate exam. And if you need to validate that, go back to that AWS Certification Exam Guide and you'll see why. This Technical Essentials course will also help you gain information on how to build, compare, and apply highly available, fault-tolerant, scalable, and cost-effective cloud solutions, which is perfectly aligned to the Solution Architect Associate Exam Guide. Duration of this training is 4 hours. Just when you thought it ended, I want to introduce you to AWS Power Hour for Architecting Associate. These are trainings hosted by AWS experts and designed to help you prepare for your associate level certifications. Let's take a look at the outline of what this course covers. So I'll scroll down here real quick. This has multiple episodes. Episode 1, Introduction to Solution Architect Associate. Then as we get into episode 2, we start to focus on the actual domains of that certification. Designing secure architectures. Episode 3, Designing resilient architectures. Episode 4, Designing high-performing architectures. Episode 5, Designing cost-optimized architectures. This is yet another way for you to have another training to go through to complement what you've already taken a look at, as I've mentioned earlier. Each one of these episodes is packed with 1.5 hours of insight. And this AWS Power Hour should definitely be among the top of your list to review. Want to be an AWS solution architect? You gotta take a look at the AWS Well-Architected Framework. Here's the website here. It has the entire framework overview that you can download. You can also download each pillar of the AWS Well-Architected Framework, which is aligned to each individual pillar, including security, cost optimization, operational excellence, reliability, performance efficiency, and sustainability. The Solution Architect Associate exam is very dependent on your knowledge of the AWS Well-Architected Framework, and if you use this as a reference, it's going to prepare you very well for the Solution Architect Associate exam. Now hang in there because I'm bringing it home. I want to point your attention out to something called Amazon FAQs, which stands for Frequently Asked Questions. I've highlighted a few FAQs that I think it's important for you to take a look at as you prepare for your Solution Architect Associate. And the first is EC2, which is the Elastic Compute Cloud. What's nice about the frequently asked questions is it starts off and basically tells you what the service is about. And then, as you would expect, there are different questions with explanations on those questions in a variety of different areas. EC2 talks about instance type, different storage, network and security, management, billing, platform, and the list goes on. The reason this is important is because as you read these questions and you read the associated answers to these questions, this is such great study material because when you take that certification exam and you're asked these questions, eventually you're going to remember these little details that you've gone over in your preparation process. And this is going to help you, your reading and comprehension, and to be able to go through the question more efficiently and pinpoint what the wrong answers are, also called the distractors, and highlight the correct answers more readily. So I would recommend just scrolling through here, reading the questions and the answers. Amazon S3, frequently asked questions, the simple storage service. Amazon S3 is object storage built to store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere. This goes through security, durability, storage classes, storage management, replication, data processing. Again, go through this as reference material. I'd rather you be over-prepared than under-prepared. The Amazon VPC, frequently asked questions, which also stands for Virtual Private Cloud. What is an Amazon Virtual Private Cloud? What is it composed of? Subnets, internet gateways, NAT gateways, virtual private gateways, peering connections, VPC endpoints, egress-only internet gateway. We talk about bringing your own IP and IP address manager and topology and security, VPC traffic mirroring, default VPCs, EC2 Classic. Just a wealth of information with questions. For example, why should I use Amazon VPC? Hit the plus here, and then it lets you know Amazon VPC enables you to build a virtual network in the cloud, no VPNs, hardware, or physical data centers required. You define your own network space and control how your network on the Amazon EC2 resources inside your network are exposed to the internet. Having the questions and the answers to these questions is really going to supercharge your studying. Amazon Route 53, a domain name system in AWS. Now, this is not necessarily the most exciting topic, but best believe this is something you should know about. So this is why I recommend going over this frequently asked question. You'll learn things like Route 53 profiles, DNS routing policies, traffic flows, private DNS, health checks in DNS failover, domain registration, Route 53 resolver. This is going to help you out greatly in your preparation. Amazon RDS, super popular relational database service, following the consistent frequently asked question format, talking about what is the service, when to use RDS versus EC2, differences between hybrid and on-premises deployment, talks about database engine versions, database instances, reserve instances, what that looks like, backups, database snapshots. This is like bread and butter solution architect associate level work here. And trust me, when you put in the work going through these FAQs, it's only going to put you in a better position in your preparation. And how can we forget Amazon SQS, the simple queue service? These FAQs are going to highlight features, functionalities, and interfaces of SQS. Talk about first in and first out queues, security, reliability, and you'll quickly realize that SQS is fundamental to building decoupled, well-architected applications. This is something that you'll soon realize as you go through that AWS well-architected framework that I mentioned earlier. Now, I know we covered a lot, but remember, everything I covered is linked in the description below. Before you go, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe below. Check out these videos right here, and I'll see you in the next video.